Hey guys, how are you today? This is a live stream here, so I'm trying to get everything adjusted so you can see me a little bit better. Give me just a second. Apologize for all the moving around here. I want to make sure that I can be seen. Alright, let me kind of move things around here. All right, so this is something that I would like to start up, which is a question and answer uh, portion of Bob Ross and the Art of Guitar, maybe shooting for Fridays. I'm trying to reformat the way that I've been, that I had done the channel in the past, because I would upload a video on Fridays, and what I'd like to do is maybe make it so Fridays could open up for question answer type format, and prior to that, maybe releasing a different video towards the beginning of the week. That way, you have something else that provides some sort of an insight, some sort of a topic that maybe you could have a question about as the end of the week comes around. Let me mention really quick that I do have, if you, after this is streamed, if you look down below, there are links to the online lessons that I put out. So if you want to check those out, please feel free to do that. I've gotten some great support with that. People are finding the lessons, and it seems to be going really well. I have some more things that I'm currently starting to map out for musiclessons.com. So any of your support, any way that I can help, let me know. So what I'd like to do is address a question that was asked to me by Patrick, and I hope I'm saying your last name right, Steen, S-T-E-E-N, Patrick Steen. And his question had to do with how do I approach diminished sevenths? And it's a two-part question, but let me address that part. So diminished seventh. This may sound kind of weird for some of you, but a lot of what I do when it comes to improvising is uh, based on a derivative approach. So I always am deriving things. A good example would be the classic, what everybody knows, 2-5-1s. I don't like to think about individual modes. I don't think about the 2, the 5, and then the 1. I think about the key center that I'm in. And then what I like to focus on is hitting the chord tones that make those chords what they are. So uh, with that being said, when I see a diminished chord, usually what I'm thinking of is the half whole diminished that is a half step below that. Now I can do the diminished scale over top of that. I can think about that too. I have a way of seeing the diminished scale across the fretboard, and I've actually been getting more and more back into that, working on that. It's not something that I use a lot. I opt for other choices when it comes to a lot of the chords. But when I see a diminished chord, there's no running away from that. So for a diminished 7, usually if I'm hitting the chord tones, I'm good. I've got it. Uh, that's one way I handle that. But I also, consider the fact that, let me give an example. If I take a song like Have You Met Miss Jones, and the way that a lot of people see Have You Met Miss Jones is they play an F and then an F sharp diminished going to a G. So I guess in some respect, almost like a passing diminished type setup. But if I analyze it a little bit different, and I take that F sharp diminished and I think about the notes that are within it, then what I could actually get out of that chord is a D7 flat 9 chord instead. So if I think about it like that, then really what it could be is a 5 of the 2 instead. And I could go a step further and put the 2 chord in front of that, like a 2 with that 5. So uh, basically doing like a 2-5 of 2. So uh, that's why sometimes I think about, when I see the diminished chord, I think about, well, what is the dominant flat 9 that it's, that I could also call it, and that's a way that I see it. I think that, when you see it like that as well, it opens up some potential ideas to play over it that you may not usually think to play, because you're always basing it off the root. But if I look at it a little bit different, then maybe I draw some more tones, some different sounds from it, that I may revert to if I didn't see it like that. And your other question was about the harmonic major. And this goes back to something I put out a couple weeks ago, where I was practicing some ideas over Coltrane tune. What is that tune? Naima. And what I was looking at was a G major 7 over an E flat. So G major 7 slash E flat in the bass. The way that I look at that now, you could see it a little bit different. If it was just, it's one thing if it was just G over E flat, but it was G major 7 over E flat. So if it's G major 7 over E flat, besides just going for the chord tones, I analyze that as being a harmonic major, because the E flat becomes the flat 6. All the other notes that work there are part of the G major scale. So if you took the G major scale, you flat to 6, you get a harmonic major scale that you can use over that. So that was what I used over that. And the the follow up to that was, is there any other songs that I use harmonic major with? The answer is not really, not at this time. I mean, I can see where it could come up again. And there is a song of mine, I believe, thinking back, it's a song of mine called Visions, where the application of a harmonic major would make sense to apply based on the context. And that's the other thing I got to look at, is based on the context, and really trying to find the right sound. Because when I look at the chord progression, I don't want to see the chords as just isolated components of that. I have to give some context to what's happening around it. So that's going to dictate the note choices as well. It's not just chord scale relationship. It for me, I have to know what, the context of that is as well, unless it's a static harmony. If you're just sitting on a chord for a long extended period of time, well, then you could really start to, explore some options there, and become a little bit more free, I think. But I have to have the context. That way I know what it is that efficiently displays the sound, conveys the sound that the composer may have had, or just the overall sound of the piece. So that does it for today's question and answers. If you're interested in this continuing on, leave some comments below. Ask some more questions. I would be happy to continue on doing these questions and answers. Usually I do get a variety of questions, and maybe I'll start addressing some of the questions in the past that I've answered privately. That way, maybe it will answer some of the questions that you guys already had. I could have already answered them at one point, so you have a reference. So if you do have any other questions, anything that you would like for me to discuss, please leave a comment below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you know what's up. And also feel free to share this. Once again, check out the links down below. Lesson material is out. You can go to my website to see where you can catch me live. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.